think you're just wiping down a window, but really you're doing Karate Kid stuff. Remember that movie? I don't see what this has to do with learning karate. I don't see what tarot cards has to do with security. Hello everyone, we're in the middle of Lower Deck Season 4, halfway point. This is probably the time when I want to start to see the overarching plot for this season kind of pick up a little bit of steam. Unfortunately, that didn't come to pass in this episode. This episode is just pattern holding. We're maintaining position. We're just treading water. We didn't really get anywhere, but to me, that's fine in this case. This episode may qualify, save for one particular scene at the very end, as a bottle episode. If you don't know, with reference to Star Trek, a bottle episode is a show that takes place entirely on the ship, a ship in a bottle. I think where we get the name. Our plot is contained within the walls of the Cerritos. So, plot-wise, we're discovering ourselves, not so much discovering what's on the outside. Every once in a while, for Star Trek, that's fine. In fact, self-discovery is a major pillar of Star Trek. This episode is no exception. This is empathological fallacies. We're fusing empath and logical. Does that mean something? Yes, it does. We'll find out in a moment. In the review for this episode, episode 5. Without further ado, let's get down and dirty with empathological fallacies. Hard to say. It doesn't want to come out of my mouth. Empathological. Betazoids, Vulcans. Maybe not a good mix. When I first saw screenshots for this episode, I saw 3, then I believe it was revealed to be Betazoids. And I was thinking, oh, here we go. Here's the diplomats. Here's a Loaxana episode. That's what this is. If you don't know me, I'm not totally against those episodes. I kind of like Loaxana Troy. And now we're kind of trying to bring it back. We're bringing back this idea of dignitaries, diplomats, that we're not really supposed to like, right? I mean, I like them, but we're not supposed to love them. We're supposed to just kind of go, okay, yeah, that's right. You're right about that. I agree. Ha ha ha. Politely laugh. Picard and Sisko, excellent at this, by the way. Check out Deep Space Nine whenever dignitaries are aboard. Same with Picard. They just put on a great face, and I love seeing Sisko get psyched up.
The heart and soul of Deep Space Nine. Ah, there you are, Commander.
Jean-Luc!
Before they show up, I do that too. Before I do a review, I get psyched up. I do a little dance and start jumping up and down and just breathe and just psyched up. Love seeing Sisko do that. Didn't get much of that this episode, but I was kind of psyched to see it. 3, as I said, Betazoid, whatever it is, diplomats, dignitaries, what have you, are just coming back from Angel 1. If you don't know, that's the TNG episode where Riker got to wear a very cool outfit. Go look it up to find out more. They're back from Angel 1 and they want to keep the party going all the way to Risa. But you see, Starfleet's aware of this mysterious ship that I, frankly, am very intrigued by. I'll give them that. They got my attention. This little ship going around doing whatever it's doing now has Starfleet on alert. Federation as a whole, probably. And it has me on alert. You know, this ship, it compels me more so than the Red Angel thing from Discovery. I'll tell you that. I don't know why. Sometimes simple is better, you know? Sometimes a simple and mysterious thing hiding in the background is more interesting than bombastic, in your face, oh my gosh, there's red signals everywhere. Hate to dig up the past, but I just felt it's kind of reflecting it in a way. There's something dangerous going on in the background. That's why these Betazoids, Betazeds, Betazedians, they're telepathic. I'm sure they can get the picture. I'm trying to come up with the right name. We have to escort them, okay, all the way to Risa, because it's dangerous out there. We don't know what this ship is, although I want to know. The Cerritos, the lower deckers, you can probably guess, save for Boimler, they're going to be the life of the party. And they're walking around, with drinks in their hands. Get us more of these drinks, whatever they called it. This is a Tallinn episode. You're getting Tallinn action. And may I say, just watching Tallinn do basically nothing in this episode, just kind of sit there, think about things, decide not to press a button on her pad to send a message, because that would be illogical. Just watching her sit there, think about it, look around, in itself was entertaining. They're lucky in the fact that they have the character Keishan, for example, and the character Tallinn, who cannot not be funny. I don't know what it is, but these two characters, Keishan can be like, oh, so Kath, his eyes open. It's just immediate automatic funny. It's cruise control for funny. And Tallinn can sit there completely silently in a dark room and say nothing. And it's auto funny. It's so interesting that we've attained that with these two characters specifically. I mean, the rest of the characters are nothing to sneeze at, but I just love this because you're getting so much Tallinn in this. This is like a Tallinn win, and you would expect an episode about empaths to include Tallinn being a Vulcan. You see Vulcans and Betazed, they're both telepathic in a way, psychic properties, the sixth sense, like things beyond smell, sight, hearing, and touch, things like that. So it makes sense that they would kind of be at odds in a Star Trek sort of way, like in a misunderstanding sort of way, sort of a comedy kind of way. And I did get that from this episode. It was funny seeing this clash of things here. If you've seen it, But the crew is going crazy. Okay, it's like you're thinking naked now, naked time, and then as the plot snowballs out of control, it kept me guessing. I was surprised by this. The amount of times I thought I had it figured out and I was wrong. At the beginning, we called it, what is it? Xanthi fever, okay, which typically affects older Betazoids. We go to see Dr. T'Ana to figure out what's going on. Once we deduce it's probably the arrival of these new guests, new people on the ship, people going crazy, put two and two together. Is it the Betazoids? Well, Xanthi fever typically affects the old Betazoids. What this is it's emotional transfers through the air. Okay, we've seen it with Lwaxana in Deep Space Nine. Love the episode. And we also saw it with Sarek. Sarek had Bendii syndrome, Xanthi fever, Bendii syndrome. Bendii, Xanthi, Bendy. Isn't that weird? They noticed it too. Isn't it strange that in two instances in Star Trek, we had psychic characters in Sarek and Lwaxana accidentally transfer emotions or loss of emotional control outward, right, from a sickness. It happened twice in Star Trek. And I have to wonder, did the writers say, why did this happen twice? Let's do it again. Let's put them together at the same time, keep the audience guessing, and at the same time kind of like poke fun at it a little bit. Like, haha, isn't that weird? And I kind of get the joke. We think it's xanthi that's driving people crazy, or xanthe fever. Dr. Diana, of course, Cations used to eat betazoids, but she's not going to do any of that now, unless she loses her emotional control. Wouldn't that suck? One thing leads to another, and everybody at the mess hall is losing their minds. Freeman, by the way, this is a Freeman-heavy episode. So we're kind of trading away Tendi and Rutherford to get a lot of T'Lyn and Captain Freeman, which it's a trade-off, but I'm happy to see it. I'm happy to see a good win for T'Lyn, and I'm happy to see Freeman standing up on a table, about to deliver a song, just like when Sarek showed up, I think, on the Enterprise. Is that what happened? Is that the episode where Picard started singing at 10 Forward? I can't remember. But I half expected Freeman to start singing an old sea shanty. It never really happened. But she wants everybody to calm down, because this is a Starfleet ship. You know, act like it. Why are you people all going crazy? It's like you're drunk. It's like the naked now or naked time. Well, we end up in sickbay, and Anna drops her tricorder. They happen to notice that it's like, it's zeroing in on T'Lyn. T'Lyn is the source of this psychic disturbance, and she has Bendai syndrome. A good explanation on behalf of the writing, but this typically affects the very old Vulcans. She's only 62. She's around T'Pol's age, I believe. You look good for 62, by the way, Mariner says. The funny little addition from Mariner. Again, yes, you can say that, but I was left wanting a little bit. Why does T'Lyn suffer from this? If they just said, and we knew, it's typically for very old Vulcans. What's going on with T'Lyn? Is she has some kind of disease other than that's causing a degeneration that causes diseases typically associated with old Vulcans to come on early? If so, that's really sad, and I wonder if this is something that's going to be explored further. So it left me wanting, but in a good way, maybe, right? In a way that kind of sets things up for the future. So I will say that. The Betazoids are part of BIA, right? CIA. We just changed the first letter. We took the first letter, went backwards one to get BIA. Beta Z Intelligence. And they're after this secret ship too. They are going to Risa, but I think they are really involved with trying to find this ship that's causing all these disturbances. Bendai is affecting everybody on the ship, emanating from T'Lyn, and it does affect them too. They force control of the bridge, and hey, in our drunken stupor, we can take a shortcut to Risa, right through the Romulan neutral zone. They look at the screen and the Romulan neutral zone map. Looks exactly like it did in TOS, which I appreciated. And now the issue is, okay, we've gone from harmless scuffles in the mess hall, and we've upgraded it to now we need to get control of this ship in order to not go to the Romulan neutral zone. We have to solve T'Lyn's problem. Why is T'Lyn extrapolating from her mind the loss of emotional control? She was trying to send a message to Sokol, her old captain, that she wants to leave the Cerritos. She doesn't need this punishment anymore. She doesn't want to be in Starfleet. She doesn't want to be a lower decker. And she doesn't get to send this message because communications are down. Interestingly, she doesn't send the communications at the end either. We have a repeat of what happened last episode. Remember last episode, something borrowed, something green? We were going to send a report to Vulcan about our findings on Orion homeworld, and we just said, there's something wrong with my pad. I guess I can't send that message. We're seeing it again. T'Lyn declines to send her message ultimately back to her old captain because she learns that a broken Vulcan can be a good lower decker. I think that's the moral of the story. After a discussion with Mariner saying, your old captain sucks. He's a doo-doo head. I wish I could just kick him. Dang it. Sarek had Bendai and he was super Vulcan. You're not a bad Vulcan. And interesting that Mariner can heal Talin's mental anguish by just saying, "Hey, it's okay. Don't worry about it, pal. There, buddy. Don't worry about it." And, it's interesting. It just took somebody as crazed as Mariner, drunk on Bendai, to just say, "Listen, Talin, don't worry about nothing. It's fine. You're not bad. You're not a Vulcan. Don't worry about it." And somehow this was just okay. So, it makes you think, right? Vulcan, the height of wisdom you want to portray this character as, can just talk to Mariner for 1 second, get that emotional release, and then undo the mental anguish that was being projected out because of Bendai, right? It could have just been anybody, right? But in this case, it was Mariner. Mariner was there. Mariner wasn't willing to leave Talin be, right? Talin, stick in the mud, didn't want to be a part of the shenanigans at the mess hall. But Mariner was there. You may miss this, right, on first viewing. But it's compelling to me that someone like Mariner was, not willing to leave Talin out right from the beginning. Mariner was following around Talin before Bendai took effect. And that's why Talin was able to actually be saved. And I've seen this in real life so much, and I really was able to relate to this episode. Me being the person who would just hide, who wouldn't be in amongst people, who wouldn't be engaging in team building, we'll call it, to be nice. And I could see myself in that character, and maybe you can see yourself in Talin as well. Like I said, it was compelling just to watch Talin do nothing. And I could probably watch an hour of that straight. We make up between Mariner and Talin, and we say, "Listen, don't worry about that whole Bendai thing. It's fine. Oh, don't worry about your old captain. You're fine just here. Like I said, a broken Vulcan is a great lower decker." Interesting way of putting it. To me, no offense, of course, to Talin. That's our A plot solved. But you see, it kind of leaks over into our B plot because we see Boimler on his own self-discovery journey. You see, this is an episode, like I said earlier, to reiterate, we're not discovering outside, we're discovering what's inside. Okay? Boimler needs to take a day off. Rutherford puts him in the program. I knew the way Rutherford said this that it was just going to be a joke. Anytime something serious is hinted at in Lower Decks intentionally, it usually means it's a joke. Right? So I was able to kind of call it, which is kind of sad. It's kind of stupid that I can just call these things now. This episode, by the way, I did find it funny. I find it funnier than the last one. The program is just, like I said, team building. It's like engaging in drama, practice, slam poetry, which I never understood. I don't know if you like it, that's fine. I'm sure it's cool for some people. I can never really get it. Charades, which ended up with Keishon pretending to be Odo by pointing at a bucket, and doing puzzles and playing with tarot cards. Ultimately, the realization is that it's relaxation. The realization is that it's relaxation. But on that same token, communal relaxation is something important for your security team because it brings the team together. I've had to do this before. It seems stupid at the time. These games where you need to fall backwards and allow the person behind you to catch you. Have you ever done this? It builds trust. So that you have to learn to trust each other, so that when something dangerous is happening, you can trust them unflinchingly. And then again, when the security team takes over the bridge from our Betazoid friends, we see them in action, right? We see, oh, how's your brain so calm? Slam poetry, right? A bit of a stretch, but it was kind of amusing, to relate the two, to relate our fun exercises to our now death-defying security action on the bridge. And, You think you're just wiping down a window, but really you're doing Karate Kid stuff. Remember that movie? I don't see what this has to do with learning karate. I don't see what tarot cards has to do with security. Maybe it has nothing to do with it, and the relaxation was its own reward. I have no idea. But Boimler is on a similar journey to Tallinn. You know, boiling away your inhibitions and being open with someone. Okay, Tallinn is open with Mariner, and Boimler is open with Shaxs. Cool character pairings. We get a lot of Shaxs this episode, a lot of Captain Freeman, and I'm happy with it. I like unusual character pairings that you don't expect, where we get to see things and situations that were novel, new, interesting, fresh, and we haven't seen before. So things are wrapped up with Boimler in his B plot, and our A plot concludes with our Betazoid characters leaving a parting gift for Freeman, which ends up being a photograph, although blurry, of the ship we're looking for this season. That I think it's from the future, maybe. Look at its design. It looks... Something in its design is telling me relativity time frame. It's got little blue dots on it, kind of like the Relativity did, that ship from the future that we saw in Voyager. I'm just getting this vibe that it's from the future. I don't know why, but maybe it's for the reasons I just laid out. This episode, empathological fallacies, empath because Betazoids, and logical because Vulcans, meeting heads, slamming together. It kept me guessing. I really did believe, at the very beginning, people were going crazy because of the drinks. Did you see them playing with those drinks and they kept focusing on it? I think that was misdirection. At the very beginning, I thought there was something in those drinks. And then I believed that it was xanthe fever. And then I believed that it was Bendii syndrome. And then, for a moment, though, I was thinking that the Betazoids actually caused this on purpose. Right? And it was something, it wasn't an accident that the Bendii occurred like that, and the Betazoids gave Tallinn something she didn't know. She had it, they touched her with something that brought on the Bendii to cause this, these shenanigans, so that the Betazoids could sneak the Cerritos into the Romulan neutral zone or something, so that they could collect some kind of data on this ship. I'm getting conspiratorial here, but these are the things I was thinking of, which is good. That the episode is keeping you thinking. It's keeping the ball rolling. It's sprinkling just enough little details here and there, and red herrings here and there, to make you think you're on the right track when you're not, right? And in that regard, I found it engaging. I don't think it's going to be for everybody. People are going to look at this and say, where did we get? We didn't get anywhere. All we did was we found out that ultimately Tallinn had Bendii syndrome. Betazoids are after that ship, and we got that photograph. That's what happened in this episode, really. And people are going to say, that's not enough. But for me, a good bottle episode like this, it can be enough, especially because I found this episode kind of funny. Musically, I didn't notice anything particularly interesting going on. There was no kind of Betazoid theme in the background. I was just kind of left hanging here. So musically, it's kind of blah. Visually, at the very end, something very cool happens where Tallinn realizes Mariner's playing a joke. Oh, look at you getting all emotional on us again. Tallinn looks over, and then Mariner goes like... and it's hard. Believe me, if you try to draw faces, it's hard to get this across, but the emotion came through subvocally. The emotion that Mariner was expressing with that face came through purely on the visual level. It's not super easy to do that. It's easy to tell an actor to do it, right? Because as humans, we know how to express the different emotions, like, oh, I was joking, oh, I was being conceited, or I was giving a quizzical look, things like that. But it came across so perfectly in Mariner's face that I can't help but praising animation. And I know I'm doing this again, I did this last episode, but I think the show is getting really good looking. It doesn't really feel flat like it used to. It's starting to feel fluid. It's starting to feel like it has depth, just visually. And for that, I'm going to praise it. plot-wise, bottle episode, not much happens. Totally inside the Cerritos, apart from at the very end where we narrowly dodged the neutral zone, and then see inside a Romulan ship where they were just waiting there like tough guys for them to come so they would have something to do. Lower Decks is so good at showing alien ships and just condensing everything that has happened to Star Trek into one funny moment to show what's really going on. We arrive at the neutral zone, and it turns out Romulans are always there to meet us because they're waiting for something to do. They're just waiting for someone to come through, like their job is to just watch it. Maybe we're on high alert because of that strange alien ship, who knows? But thematically, it's nothing new. It's plenty wholesome, and it wraps up in a way that reminds me of the old days of Star Trek. Walking down a hallway between Boimler and Shaxs, discussing what happened to that day, with a funny little quip at the very end. Hey, did you think we were just practicing with phasers all the time? We know you've been stressing a lot lately, so we want you to have a day off. And we're laughing, and everything's A-okay. And for Mariner and T'Lyn, it's also A-okay back in the mess hall, because we're laughing and joking very jovially. And yes, the broken Vulcan is a great lower decker. And she made a great hero for this episode. You're getting a T'Lyn win, and you're getting some Captain Freeman action, which I did like. Funny moments like shoving a drink holder in Ransom's butt made me immediately laugh. Seeing Kayshawn do anything is funny. Seeing T'Lyn do anything at all is funny. So I'm chalking up this episode as 1 on the funny meter for episodes so far. I think we had 1 or 2 that weren't that funny. But so far, this season, halfway through, it's more wins than losses, but nothing is really incredible. I will say that. 4 empathological fallacies, if I can ever manage to say that correctly. Empathological fallacies. A lot of syllables there. I'm going to have to go ahead and give it a 5.5. Standard for this season. I liked it better than the last episode. This episode, it's got more for me mentally to chew on. I'm not sure why exactly, but I do like T'Lyn, and I do like a good bottle episode. And I like when our A plot and our B plot can converge thematically. Being open with people, trusting people, and just going along to get along. Maybe if we stop being so inside of our own minds with things, and we could just go with the flow, we could have just told Mariner what was going on with our pad, and we're thinking of quitting the Cerritos, came out with it. We could have just went along with the games that Shaxs was playing, and not try to fight him at every turn, and throw shade at the security team. And we'd all feel better about ourselves, and we'd all be in a lot less dangerous situation, because it wouldn't have been approaching the Romulan neutral zone, maybe. I'll say that much. And one more thing. I actually have one of those weird drinking vessels that the Betazoids had in this episode. Except I use mine to hold coins, right? So whenever I get change, I just throw it in. And the interesting thing is that it's wider at the bottom, right? So it creates like kind of like a ballast here that makes it not want to fall over. So it's really great to collect things that you can just throw it in because of the wide top and not have to worry about it getting knocked over because it's so much heavier at the bottom. So it's like a natural built coin holder. And I have one here, and I don't know what to search for to get one because I don't know what it's called. But there you go. Maybe you can hold it, use it to hold peanuts or something. I don't know. But it's probably a lot of money in here. Well, I'm Lieutenant Mark, and I hope to see you back next week for Lower Decks Season 4, Episode 6. We're on the downswing already. Imagine that. I'll see you next time I see you. So long.